how in the heck is this guy doing it? Is he doing any sort of drugs? And I can tell you that it's just because I have so many interactions with him, that is just his own chemistry. That's actually a good segue for Elon's plan. So let's switch to that one.
Okay.
Man,
yeah.
talking about sending your head to Mars. Did you saw the speech? You were telling me to watch it. I didn't have a chance, but I saw some of the news that was coming out from the speech from Elon.
Yeah. You know what's really funny? Okay. And just to give you a little bit of background, Elon gave a speech because they're doing their SpaceX launches right now. And he's basically saying, hey, like, this is just step one out of this like large plan that he has. He wants to build a colony on Mars with 1 million people over the next 20 years. So that's kind of this goal that he says SpaceX and him are working towards. The way he presents it, though, is like super nonchalant. Like, yeah, okay, so we're going to start building rockets. We're going to start sending stuff up to Mars. Yeah, we're going to have to start sending people up there. So we'll probably do daily launches to get people up there. And then, yeah, within 20 years, we're going to have 1 million people up there. It'll be self-sufficient. It'll be good. Like, no big deal. Just watching this, I'm like, what is he saying, man?
It's and I don't think that is totally crazy, because I think that is we have the pieces there, meaning we are working on rockets. You have the technology right now, right? So before it was out of reach, right? Only governments could do it, but now you have these eccentric billionaires, right? Richard Branson, Elon Musk, and Jeff Bezos, right? All of them kind of doing their own. And you have mainly probably Jeff and Elon. So it's not far outreach in my mind. It's like there are audacious and big goals, but I don't think that is so bananas at this point.
Yeah. When so this speech that he did, or presentation, it wasn't that long. It was like a 15 or 20 minute kind of run through of what his plans are. And yeah, it does seem pretty feasible. Of course, a lot of this is very high level, but he's just trying to get this message out, get awareness around it. There's certain times of there's certain times where the planets line up just right, like Earth's rotation with Mars's rotation, that, it makes the trip to Mars the shortest that it's going to be. So it might just be like a 3-year trip or something like that to Mars. So there's certain windows in time that if you get everything lined up just right and start doing like these daily launches of ships and things like that, you can get a lot of material out to Mars. You get some people out to Mars. You can get your robots out to Mars, because you need to start building these colonies and things like that. So he's thinking through a lot of that. Of course, there's no detail in these plans right now. That doesn't mean there aren't details. It's just like he's trying to keep it high level, I think, for people to get the idea. Hey, would I move to Mars? Would you move to Mars, Mando? These are one-way tickets, by the way, I think.
Let's say that we'll send you, Ramirez, over there, and then you send me an email or whatever. and maybe when I'm 70 or something like that, fuck it.
Yeah, it's like, all right, let's see what this is like. So it's very, very interesting. I think, and you might think like, hey, we got a bunch of problems on Earth. Why are we trying to do stuff out in Mars, but I think that just goes to show kind of how Elon thinks. He thinks a lot of stuff kind of like out of the box, right? And I was watching just this TikTok talking about IQs, and they were estimating that Elon Musk has like an IQ in the mid 150s, right? So that's pretty smart. There aren't that many people that are in the kind of the 150s range, right? And it just goes to show that he maybe thinks about things at a certain level, and he's thinking about in terms of humanity, right? If an asteroid comes and takes out the Earth, or other things like we cause stupid shit here on Earth, it'd be good to have a colony on Mars, right? To survive and keep going. That's what he's thinking about.
I totally applaud that effort, right? So a couple points here on what if humanity kind of destroys there, because it could happen, right? We with the advances that we did on this century uh, in warfare, atomic bombs they're a threat for the whole planet. If you start literally, I'm not sure if you guys have seen the movie Oppenheimer, but
Mm.
literally explains what could happen, right? Because now it's not only one country that has nuclear weapons. If all of these people start these governments, they start pushing the
Get button
button,
happy. Push the red button.
and it's just massive. Like
Hmm.
literally, you have years and years of this cloud on radioactive material and all of that, which you start doing it in all of the planet. You can start nuking I don't know, half of the planet, right?
Yeah.
So I think that it could be man-made, a problem like that, or maybe a natural event where I was looking into a couple of weeks ago on the ancient aliens. Uh, there is this place in Turkey,
Aliens, man.
Gopel Tepe, uh, and basically it means, I believe in Turkish, it means like the Potbelly Hill,
Mm.
and they the archaeologists, they were thinking that humanity had technology 5,000 to 6,000 years until they start discovering that area. Like they say, oh crap, this area is like 13,000 years. So and it's kind of advanced for what they did in that time. So I think that and it just talks about the space, right? That literally maybe something happened, that it kind of maybe a meteorite or whatever just hit the earth, and then it created a whole ecosystem. So
Mm.
it could be man-made, or it could be a catastrophe like a meteorite
Yeah.
just hitting the earth. Uh, and I think that is somebody has to think on that, right? And I think that Elon um, is kind of thinking in that way. And again, it's his money, right? He wants to spend it that way. Sure, why not?
Do what you got to do. But, I go back to thinking, how does he get these ideas? Like, is he always just kind of thinking outside the box? I'm sure he's read a lot of science fiction and things like that. So I know that's where he gets a lot of these things with like the Cybertruck, how it looks kind of futuristic and things like that. But, you've worked with him, right? And,
Mhm.
how does he act, or like, how does he think about problems, things like that?
I think that I really think that he has different chemistry than most people. And what I mean is like I was working 2, 3 a.m. in the morning. I'm sorry, but I was tired, man. It's like
Yeah.
I was freaking tired. He
Most people are
landed.
asleep. Yeah.
I'm human, right? It's like I'm not a fucking alien. So the guy landed from his private airplane, and he was fresh, and he wanted us to continue working. And I was thinking myself, how in the heck is this guy doing it? Is he doing any sort of drugs? And I can tell you that it's just because I have so many interactions with him, that is just his own chemistry, his own hormones, that I think that
Hmm.
allows him to kind of almost double, right? So if the guy is a genius with 155 IQ, then and you have all of this chemistry, then it's just multiply his time. So you have
Hmm.
couple genius
Yeah.
working
He's
there,
doing the
right?
work of two geniuses, I guess, right? Between his actual genius and then his ability to do double the work. I mean,
Yes, and I think that that's what it sets him apart. And the other part that I think that it sets him apart will be he can paint a story and a very moonshots, a very big plans. I'm gonna put these people in Mars, right? So it's bold and it's just intoxicate a lot of smart people to say, yeah, yeah, we're gonna do it. And maybe he believes it, but maybe they don't know how they're gonna do it. But guess what? They'll manifest it, right?
that's right.
So,
Well,
and I think that that's kind of the what I see in the time that I was with him, right?
yeah, definitely. And, we've talked about this before. We said, like, who's the ultimate dopamine higher, right? Like, that they get high off the dopamine. And we said Elon Musk is a perfect example. So as he's talking about these big moonshots, hey, we're going to Mars, we're doing these things, that ramps up the dopamine of others that are like him. So it's kind of like he's calling over all the other people that want to do stuff like this. That's how they get their dopamine hit too, is by doing things that are impossible, right? And so I think that's how he builds this community, and he builds like these things that shouldn't really be able to be done. But it's really about having that long-term goal and then breaking it down into solvable problems. You know, that's what engineers do, right?
Yeah, and I think that you spell it out. But another shortcut that he's doing, because people don't realize that he's not founding the company from zero.
Mm-hmm.
He is literally acquiring the companies, PayPal, Tesla, Neuralink, right? All of these companies, they were founders that they spent 5-8 years, right, to just get them through a good amount of mass. But he's making very good decisions. He's selling to a board of investors. Even Twitter, it was not all his money. Literally, he raised the money from other investors and literally selling this idea that he's going to completely change Twitter. It hasn't paid out properly to him, but again, you win some and you lose some, right?
yeah, exactly.
But yeah, all of these are acquisitions, right? Tesla was an acquisition, Neuralink, and as well. So what do you think about that shortcut?
You know, that's a good point. It's really hard to get something from zero to something that's sustainable and it's not going to die, right? So I think that's a really good shortcut to take. Instead of getting it from that zero to that point where you know it's not going to die, jump in at the point where you know it's not going to die, or maybe it's just right there. And he's just really good at executing and pushing people and getting the right people working on the right problems to make sure it takes off. So, you know, that's a pretty good skill to have. It's very similar to, like, I don't know how many of y'all remember, but like, you know, Google bought Android and things like that. So, you know, they created this whole industry of the Android phones, and they jumped in and just bought it at that point. You know, it's not like they're the ones that started all that from the ground up. So it's a very good lesson to understand. And maybe for us, even like you and I, we, instead of starting from getting something from zero to that point, because that takes a lot of work, it takes years. Maybe you can jump into something that's already going and just take it to the next level. And
like anything else, it's a skill. We have to learn that skill, right? How to make sure that we are understanding these businesses and they're, you know, just lying, because obviously there's people that are lying and they're fudging their numbers. But yeah, I think that when they are solid, like even Warren Buffett, that's what he's doing, right? He's acquiring chunks of companies, and he's thinking, like, he thought about Coca-Cola, he thought about Geico, right? So and maybe he does 1 or 2 transactions a year and do all of the thinking for the rest of the year, right? But yeah, that's a good skill that we need to master, that we're not pretty good at that yet.
Yeah. Well, I'm looking forward to the postcard that you send me from Mars, Mondo, when you get over there. You know, that has a nice ring. Mondo Mars.
Mondo Mars. Sounds like a Bruno Mars, man. Let's start with Bruno Mars. We'll send Bruno.
Anyway, pretty interesting stuff there from Elon. If he, we'll see. I mean, it's just a few years away before that first window is to, like, I think, send people over to Mars, or at least some equipment over to Mars. So we'll see if he hits that first milestone. That'll be very, very interesting.
For sure. Right. Then we have a good one, man.
Yeah. Hey, well, and you know what? That's all we've got for today. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment. We love to hear from you. We love the comments. We like to talk about them here in the podcast. I know we've got a lot of people preparing for the having party. We love seeing those comments. We're right there with you. Again, another plug for our viral Bitcoin meme songs. Check them out. They're on our channel. We'll link them in the show notes. But that's all that we've got for today. So we'll see y'all next time. Dale.